Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
It was because the person standing in front of Selena was her male manager. "Mr. Rhodes, do you live here?" Selena asked in surprise. Jeffrey glanced at her and said, "Yes, I live here." Selena entered the elevator awkwardly. Subsequently, Jeffrey asked, "Do you live here as well?" "And my cousin lives here." Selena was slightly nervous as she replied. "What position does your cousin hold in the company?" "As she works at the level of the president's office." "Oh. That makes sense then." The elevator stopped at 2 levels below them, and 2 people entered the elevator. They greeted Jeffrey warmly. "Hi, Mr. Rhodes." At that point, Selena was shocked to discover that everyone knew each other. Furthermore, she faintly remembered that one of them was the director of the finance department. "Why does everyone live here?" "This is such a coincidence," Selena interrupted. "This is the residential area provided by the company for the management-level staff, so that's why we all live here," the female director mentioned. Selena couldn't contain her shock and quickly asked, "Are the houses here available for rent for the public?" "This is a residential area developed by our company, so none of the properties has ever been rented out to the public. Those who are eligible to stay here hold at least a managerial position in the company." "Which department do you work in?" The female director couldn't contain her curiosity and asked. At that point, Selena was mortified. She had no other option but to say, I work under Mr. Rhodes." "Her cousin lives here," Jeffrey quickly explained, just in case they misunderstood that something was going on between him and his female subordinate. "Which department does your cousin work in?" "She works at the president's office." Quite impressed, the female director instantly replied, "Your cousin's very capable to get a job by the president's side at such a young age." Selena exited the elevator, significantly dumbstruck. "So, Ellen actually lied to me. This isn't a place she rented at all. She was granted this accommodation for free by the company. How on earth did Ellen get this perk? The location and amenities of this residential area are way more luxurious and better than my area. How could she lie to me?" Selena was angered beyond words and reached out for her phone to give Ellen a call. Ellen was coincidentally free at the moment, and upon seeing the call from Selena, she answered it angrily. "Ellen speaking." "Ellen, how could you lie to me? The house you're staying at right now isn't a rental property at all. It's a luxury apartment provided by the company." Stunned, Ellen didn't expect Selena to have found out, but Ellen admitted frankly, "Yes, it is provided by the company." "So why did you lie to me?" "I'm your cousin." "Yeah. Are you still in my house?" "Yes, of course. Please gather your belonging right now and move out of my home. You're no longer welcome to stay." "What did you just say?" "Last night, you secretly used my phone and sent some flirty messages to President Presgrave. Don't assume I'm unaware of things." Ellen furiously exposed Selena's misdeed. Selena was taken aback by that. She didn't expect Ellen to find out, so she ended up saying, "It wasn't intentional. Your phone was by my side, so I randomly replied to a few messages. I was worried that you would tell me off, so I deleted the messages. Are you aware that by sending those messages, you've created a huge misunderstanding for me and President Presgrave?" Ellen was enraged. As soon as Selena heard that, she was secretly delighted. Did President Presgrave get mad at her and told her off? "Why? Did you get told off by President Presgrave?" "No, he didn't. He misunderstood and wondered whether I was interested in him. You could have told him that I was the one who sent those messages." In fact, Selena hoped that Ellen would do that. As such, Selena's presence would become known to Jared. "That's ridiculous. I had no choice but to admit that I was the one who sent those messages. Next time, please don't touch my cell phone without permission. Ellen hung up the phone immediately after saying that. Originally, Selena had thought that last night's text message exchange was great, but right now, she was quite unhappy. At this point, she regretted her actions for teasing President Presgrave provocatively on Ellen's behalf. After all, Ellen wasn't the type of person to tease a man on her own initiative at all. Besides, Ellen wouldn't know how to. Since Ellen had admitted to being the message sender last night, President Presgrave would surely be more infatuated with her and her suggestive messages. At that moment, Selena was deeply regretful of her actions. She had unintentionally broken the barrier between Ellen and Jared and had made way for an intimate relationship between them. Over at the conference room, Jared's lips curled for a while as he held his cup of joe. It wasn't sweetened coffee, but it tasted sweet to him. It looks like she must be cute when she's drunk. I'll like to get to know her. When he thought about asking her whether she liked him earlier that morning, he found it comical. Ellen was still annoyed and blushed at that thought. If she admitted that she was the one who sent those chat messages, wouldn't that mean that she really had something with Jared? No. She shook her head. I just want to stay by his side and work well. I can't afford to think about unrealistic matters. When he returned to the office, Stanley handed him an invitation card and asked, President Presgrave, there is a charity event this Friday. Do you need me to reject it? Jared waved his hand. There's no need. I'll go. Stanley was taken aback because Jared was never a big fan of such events. So, why is he going this time? Selena arrived at the company in the afternoon and she couldn't help asking where Ellen lived in. The answer she received was that Ellen lived in an accommodation that the senior management had helped to arrange. Damn. I'm jealous of her. She thought it was Jared who arranged Ellen's accommodation instead of the Human Resources Department. As soon as she remembered Jared mentioning that he had a girlfriend, Selena wondered why he had to treat a mere assistant so well. Is President Presgrave taken? Nope. I'm sure of this, one of the female employees answered. How are you so sure? Selena queried. I have a senior who works in the senior management at headquarters. I just asked her about this 2 days ago. Forget about women coming in and out of President Presgrave's office. He doesn't have anyone throwing themselves at his feet either. What if she never visits the office? Impossible. When President Presgrave is swamped with work, he'll be cooped up in his office for the entire week. Selena couldn't help but clench her fists in anger. In that case, that means he doesn't have a girlfriend? Of course. I mean, that's something that all the females in the office are concerned about. Don't tell me I heard wrongly? The female employee was confident with her news. Damn it, Ellen. You lied to me again. Selena was close to blowing her top because she couldn't understand Ellen's intention in doing what she did. Could it be that Ellen wanted Jared all to herself? What a scheming woman. I thought she was an innocent child, but she looks like she is tricking me. Damn. Selena was about to die of anger because the person whom she looked down upon had duped her. No wonder Jared quickly fell for the ruse when she took Ellen's call to trick him. It looked like he was really single, but if that was the case, didn't it mean that she dug her own grave by helping Ellen to seduce him? She was so annoyed that she wanted to slap herself because her malice turned out to be Ellen's guiding star. The more she thought about it, the more Selena was exasperated. She noticed that it was 3:30 p.m. and set aside her cup of joe to head to the elevators. She could no longer stomach her anger. She wanted to seek out Ellen and demand why Ellen lied to her. The floor of the headquarters was serene. When Selena arrived, she ran into one of the female assistants and hurriedly asked, "Hello, may I know where Ellen's office is?" "Over there," The female assistant replied in haste and pointed in the direction of Ellen's office. Selena immediately headed in that direction and saw Ellen having a large desk from the floor-to-ceiling window, which immediately made her envious because Ellen was a mere assistant but had a spacious workspace. When she unceremoniously opened the door and entered, she frightened Ellen, who then raised her head. As soon as she did so, she noticed Selena coming toward her with aggression. Ellen was slightly angered upon noticing her. "Do you have something, Selena?" "Ellen, I've underestimated you. I never expected you to resemble a white rabbit but a person who schemes behind the scenes." "I don't know what you mean." Ellen frowned. "Firstly, you lied that you rented your residence. I later found out that the senior management of Presgrave Group arranged the place for you. Secondly, you claimed that President Presgrave has a girlfriend, but I heard he's single. All these are part of your plan because you know that if I don't fight with you over him, you'll be his girlfriend," Selena roared. Ellen's pretty face flushed as she didn't refute Selena's words. She lied to Selena, but she didn't mean to do so. When Selena saw Ellen's reaction, she broke into a sneer. "What's up? Do you still want to explain things?" "There are two things I lied to you about," Ellen mentioned as she shook her head and looked at Selena. "I don't want to explain it. And I don't owe any obligation to you to do so. Ellen, let me tell you this. Things won't end well for you if you provoke me. Since you dare to lie to me, just you wait," Selena warned. "Up to you." Ellen met Selena's gaze without any fear. "Move out of my house, please. Do you think I even wanted to stay there? I'll have you know that my parents are within a distance of us. I intentionally moved to your place, but I never expected you to believe my reasons." Selena couldn't help but mock Ellen's stupidity. Ellen's face flushed deeper. It was not due to shame, but rather anger. She had kindly accepted Selena into her house, but Selena had turned around and criticized that she was stupid for doing so. At this moment, Selena heard footsteps that sounded like they belonged to a man. Her heart raced as she thought, could it be President Presgrave? She also wanted to see whether she could meet him or not. As the footsteps became louder, she peeked out the window to see a handsome figure appearing within view. Sure enough, God had answered her prayers because Jared had indeed shown up. Jared also noticed her and entered Ellen's office thereafter. Selena's heart skipped a beat. My God! He's really here! She felt that this was a good opportunity to ruin Jared's impression of Ellen. Ellen was also nervous because she had no idea why he swung by. "Do you need anything, President Presgrave?" Without even waiting for Jared to answer, Selena interrupted and answered, "I need to have a word with you, President Presgrave." This was enough to make Ellen worrisome as she tried to plead with Selena not to say anything. "It's about Ellen," Selena added. "What is it?" When he heard that it was about Ellen, Jared curiously asked. Seeing that Ellen had gone pale made Selena proud as her lips curled upward. "President Presgrave, did you know that I have been staying at Ellen's place for the past 2 days? She's a liar who spreads lies." "Selena, please don't say," Ellen begged as she clasped her hands tightly. "I'm still going to say it. I want President Presgrave to see what kind of person you are." Selena seemed to have gotten leverage over Ellen. On the other end, Jared frowned, but he could tell that Selena seemed pleased with what she had done. She continued, "She lives in the company-provided accommodation, right? When I asked her about it, she lied that it was a rented place. Then, I asked whether our boss was taken, to which she said yes. You are single, President Presgrave, but she told me the opposite. I want to tell the truth on these two matters so that you can pursue the person you fancy. She's quite a schemer, don't you think?" Ellen's beautiful eyes dropped when she heard that. She had lied to Selena, which was why she felt helpless when Selena decided to spill the beans. Now that Selena revealed the truth to Jared, Ellen felt ashamed. Jared looked at the silent Ellen before he turned to Selena. Then, he addressed Ellen. "Ellen, do you want to explain things?" "I don't want to because I lied to her," Ellen admitted. "But I want to hear it," Jared insisted in seriousness. She was startled and turned to look at the solemn man as she felt pressured. Selena snorted because she knew that Jared would see what kind of person Ellen was. "Let's see how you'll wriggle your way out." As Ellen never expected that she'd be forced to explain, she took a deep breath and nodded. "Fine, I'll explain those two matters. Firstly, the Human Resource Department manager warned me not to tell anyone about the accommodation part. So, I'm sorry, Selena. I lied to you. As for me saying that President Presgrave has a girlfriend, that's also a lie," she admitted. "Please. You're full of lies. President Presgrave has no girlfriend, but you spread rumors that he has. What's your intention? Could it be you wanted an exclusive chance with him?" Selena sneered again because Ellen was unqualified to be Jared's girlfriend. Ellen hurriedly explained, "No, I don't mean that. I just hoped that you won't disturb President Presgrave's work and personal life. Who are you to care about his life? You are just President Presgrave's assistant. Did you think you are his girlfriend? Even if he has bad taste, he will not have the hots for you." Selena shouted at that moment, making it sound like her words made sense. Ellen's face flushed even redder. She felt that Jared was looking at her and she had the urge to flee the scene in embarrassment. "I'm sorry, Ellen," she apologized sincerely for her lies. Seeing that she had scolded Ellen to the point where Ellen was so embarrassed, Selena suddenly felt that Jared would hate her too. However, when she turned in his direction, she noticed his gaze was on Ellen, but it wasn't one of annoyance. Am I hallucinating? He is distressed on her behalf? Selena couldn't help but panic. President Presgrave, you should know best what kind of person she is. Not only that, but I knew that she tried to seduce you through the messages. She has ulterior motives toward you, she said in her attempt to portray Ellen as a bad person. Selena, I admit that I'm in the wrong. Please stop speaking. Ellen raised her head to stop Selena from telling more. Selena sneered and added, my cousin is with someone whom my parents introduced as a date, but she won't separate from you, President Presgrave. What a busy person she is. This was enough to cause Ellen to snap. Stop spewing nonsense. Harvey and I are no longer in contact. Asterisk President Presgrave, Ellen has an innocent-looking face, but she actually schemes. She has resorted to all tactics to lie to you. Selena disliked Ellen so much that she wanted to ruin Ellen's reputation. Jared looked at Selena with a complicated look before he turned to Ellen, who apologized under his gaze. President Presgrave, I'm sorry. I lied to you. About what? He narrowed his eyes. Yesterday's messages were all sent by Selena, not me. She took the opportunity to text you when I was away in the morning. I told you that I was drunk texting you. That was a lie. Ellen was so ashamed that she couldn't look him in the eye, which left him sad. The expression on Selena's face changed because she never expected Ellen to turn the tables on her. She quickly claimed, I didn't intend to. I was replying to the text messages that you sent Ellen on impulse. President Presgrave. The frown on Jared's face deepened. Now that Ellen had finally raised her head and met Jared's gaze with clear eyes, she went on, I would never dare to show any disrespect to you or possess any fantasies about you, President Presgrave. I just want to do my job and be the best employee that I can. These words left him insecure. Why is she expressing her honesty? Did she think I would like it? Selena sneered. Ellen, I don't know whether your words are true. You're always by President Presgrave's side, but you dare to claim that you don't think about him? Don't you have a crush on him or something? I know where I stand. I know that my background doesn't match his, so I have my boundaries, Ellen retorted. Oh. Your denial means you still have tricks up your sleeve, though. Don't think I'm unaware that you want President Presgrave to notice you. You have been dirt poor since young, so you want to rely on him to rise. Selina was adamant about revealing the reason why Ellen got close to Jared. Ellen's eyes turned red due to her anger. Nonsense. I've never thought about this before and never will. As his chest heaved up and down, he finally interrupted and stopped Selina from continuing her attack on Ellen. Stop it and shut up. Selina was shocked because she hadn't vented enough of her frustrations on Ellen. It was only at that moment that he turned to look at Ellen and softly said, Ellen, I've never cared about your background, so you shouldn't either. Nothing is difficult if you set your heart and soul on it. If you don't try, how would you know whether you've succeeded or not? Ellen was already rendered confused by the argument with Selina, so she couldn't understand what Jared inferred. However, Selina did as her eyes widened. She was stunned and looked at Ellen in disbelief because she didn't know what was going on. At the end of the day, Jared wasn't blaming Ellen even after Selina tried to fan the flames. He looked at Selina before turning to Ellen with doubt. His thin lips were raised as he asked, Don't you understand what I said? Ellen nodded. I understand. In actual fact, she didn't. Don't be my assistant. Be my girlfriend instead. He cut to the chase. His words took the breath out of her and she almost fainted. President Presgrave, how can someone like her be your girlfriend? An angered Selina demanded. You are actually wrong. The relationship between Ellen and me doesn't stem from her wooing me. Rather, I'm the one who's after her. It's just that she's too dense to even realize what I mean, Jared explained coldly to Selina. Ellen suddenly felt that she couldn't continue with her job and turned to him. I quit, President Presgrave. I'm not doing this job. She wanted to return to her previous life, where she didn't have any worries whatsoever. Now that she had $1 million in her savings, she could do whatever it was that she wanted to do in the past, like become a volunteer or work in a pet shop. Heck, I don't mind returning to my previous job as a barista too. He suddenly snorted. Try me. The liquidated damages you have to pay is $1 million. Her hand holding the bag froze. Do you have to be mean? I have $1 million in savings and you want me to compensate you with it? Selina was just as shocked because it looked like she was the outsider as he tried to shower Ellen with affection. You can't ask me to pay so much. Ellen tried to negotiate. She couldn't bear to part with $1 million. Selina was obviously unaware of the way Jared and Ellen socialized with each other. Apart from an employer-subordinate relationship, they even had a friendship going on. Stay here and work. Don't go anywhere. You can tell anyone that I have a girlfriend. Heck, even if you were to announce to the world that I'm taken, I won't blame you. If anyone asks me, I'll just say that you are my girlfriend. I want you to know what it means to reap what you sow. He punished Ellen for this lie because he wanted her to be his girlfriend. I'm in the wrong, okay? I'm apologizing to you, but I don't want to be your girlfriend, Ellen rejected. Being Jared's girlfriend meant enduring the countless pressure from others, so she would much prefer being single. Selina almost snapped in jealousy because the man she dreamed of was rejected by Ellen. Jared seemed to expect Ellen's reaction. He was neither angry nor annoyed, rather, he was merely helpless. Jared said to Selina, Had you not been recommended by your father, I'd have fired you right now. At this moment, Stanley finally found Jared here after spending a long time looking for the man to no avail. He urged at the door, President Presgrave, it's time for the meeting. Jared darted a look at Ellen. Then, he warned her, stay here, before leaving. In the office, Selina's face was livid one moment and pale the next. Looking somewhat ferocious, she looked daggers at Ellen, asking, What's your relationship with President Presgrave? Having seen through this cousin of hers, Ellen didn't bother to answer her question. She retorted, "Is that any of your business?" Selina looked at the young lady before her, who reeked of poverty from her very bones except for her pretty looks. "This can't be possible. How could you be good enough for President Presgrave? What is it about you that qualifies you to catch his fancy?" In a rare moment, Ellen's face hardened, though her expression was already frosty in the first place. She pointed to the door, saying, "Please get out." Selina was stunned for a second before she realized she was being chased away and by Ellen of all people. Just you wait. I'll make you pay for the humiliation I suffered today," she threatened. With that, she tossed her head and left. Exhausted, Ellen slumped into the chair as though she had just fought a war. Resting her head in her hands, she felt an overpowering weariness sweep over her. Her brain was fatigued, her cheeks burned again without her knowing when she looked back on what Jared had said just now. "Am I too stupid to notice that he's been courting me all the time? But has he ever courted me?" She asked herself inwardly in hindsight. Nothing of the sort. My mind's confused. Let's not think about this anymore. Just calm down and do some reading instead. On the other hand, Selina went downstairs and returned to her desk. She looked at her small office, then at Ellen's large, spacious office. She had never felt so aggrieved before and reflected on what Jared had said. So, Jared fell in love with Ellen first and has been courting her since then? And he said Ellen was stupid for not noticing that? Selina bit her lip. How could Ellen be so lucky? This made her feel kind of resentful, as though her life had been wasted before this. It was like no matter how hard she tried to get luck on her side, she could never be as lucky as Ellen, who met Jared. Indeed, her family was rich, but it was simply nothing to speak of compared to the Presgraves. She was really green with jealousy. The Presgrave family's money had never crossed her mind, but she had always dreamed of having Jared to herself ever since she first laid eyes on him. But now, he actually fell in love with Ellen, a poor relative whom she looked down on the most. That's even more distressing than death, no? Just in what way is Ellen better than me? She closed her eyes. Just then, her phone rang, she picked it up and took a look. Seeing that it was a phone call from a rich dandy whom she had gotten to know abroad, she immediately composed herself and answered the phone. "Hey, Charlie. Lena, I heard that you're back in the country. I have a dinner party this Friday that I'd like to invite you to join." "A dinner party? What kind of dinner party is that?" "It's a charity dinner that'll absolutely be fun." Selina was someone who judged people by their appearances. Charlie Dune's family was rich, but she turned up her nose at him because he was over 220 pounds. This time, however, she wasn't going to give up the opportunity to attend such a dinner party. Hence, she replied with a smile, "Well, then, let's have fun together." "All right. I'll pick you up then, so dress up for the party." "Don't worry, I won't make you look bad," Selina replied with a smile before ending the phone call. As soon as she hung up the phone, though, she had goosebumps all over in disgust. Still, she was really in a foul mood today and had to look for something that would make her happy. Getting off work earlier than she was supposed to, she first went back to Ellen's place to pack her belongings. Ellen had given Selina the key to her place. At this moment, having packed her belongings there, Selina vented her anger by deliberately messing up the place. Not only that, she even smashed one of its ornaments to pieces. Seeing how the place looked like it had been ransacked, she couldn't help but laugh gloatingly. However, just when she was about to leave, Ellen pushed the door open. The two women looked at each other. Then, seeing the chaos all over the place, Ellen clenched her fists and burned with anger, saying, "You've gone too far, Selina." Selina looked at her disdainfully. She scoffed, "So what if I'm going too far? I haven't had enough of smashing things yet. Even if I smash everything here, I can afford to pay for it. How's that?" Ellen clenched her fists even tighter. Seeing the smashed ornament on the floor, she finally lost the last of her patience. Suddenly coming at Selena, she grabbed her by the hair, pinned her to the floor, and started beating her, yelling, "Why did you have to smash everything here? This place isn't mine. Ouch. It hurts. Get your hands off me, damn Ellen." Selena forgot to fight back. She was momentarily preoccupied with the pain of being straddled by Ellen and pulled by the hair. Ellen held on to a handful of Selena's hair and refused to let go as she boiled with rage. "So what if you can afford to pay for it? Who let you smash these things?" Selena had never been treated like this before. She yelled angrily, "Let go of me. Get your hands off me now. Apologize for what you did." Ellen demanded an apology. Ellen would rather die than say sorry to her, though. "To hell if I'll do that. You're not allowed to leave until you apologize," Ellen said, pressuring her while continuing to pull her by the hair. At last, Selena ignored the pain and fought back, pinching Ellen's waist hard and getting up while the latter was in pain. Then, she struck back by swinging her bag at Ellen, forcing the latter to put up her arms to fend her off. As a result, the metal on her bag instantly cut Ellen's arm, causing several drops of blood to stain the latter's shirt red. Ellen's face turned pale in pain. Seeing the blood on her arm, Selena stopped her attack, her hair disheveled. At this very moment, she just wanted to leave here as soon as possible lest Ellen went crazy again. "I'll remember this," she didn't forget to threaten before leaving. Ellen sat on the sofa and opened her shirt. When she saw the cut on her forearm, a sudden bout of grievance washed over her, causing her to burst into tears for a moment. Crying non-stop, she picked up a piece of tissue and wiped the blood away as tears blurred her eyes. Meanwhile, shortly after Selena left by cab downstairs, a man took the elevator at the underground parking lot and went upstairs. Jared got out of the meeting, only to realize that Ellen had left beforehand. He couldn't help worrying that she might actually quit her job, so he had no choice but to come over and talk with her to dissuade her from doing so. He reached the door to her apartment, but just when he wanted to press the doorbell, he noticed that the door was half open and unlocked. As it turned out, Selena had merely yanked the door shut and gone out while leaving in a great hurry just now. Thanks to inertia, the door closed automatically, but it wasn't locked. Jared's heart clenched at the sight of this. How could she be so careless as not to close the door properly? This neighborhood is pretty good in terms of security, but it's still dangerous if she comes across bad people. He pushed the door open and came in. The next instant, he saw the mess on the floor and Ellen, who was crying and sitting on the sofa with her hand clamped over her arm. Noticing that someone had entered, Ellen raised her teary eyes in fright to see her boss come uninvited. Startled, she stood up in a panic. The tissue paper plugging the wound on her arm fell off, revealing a bleeding cut that was almost an inch long. "What happened? How did you get hurt?" Jared quickly came over and grabbed her arm before examining the wound. Ellen hurriedly shook her head. Not wanting him to worry, she even hit her arm guiltily. "It's nothing. I just hurt myself by accident." "What's going on with your place? Was it a break-in or something?" Jared looked around the place. Then, recalling something, he went to the living room cabinet and rummaged around in it. As he had expected, he found a first aid kit, which he took out before walking up to her. "Sit down and let me bandage your wound." Ellen had no choice but to sit down. Jared opened the first aid kit and took out some cotton balls and a bandage. At this moment, Ellen couldn't be bothered by the pain. She wiped her tears in secret, not wanting to appear too fragile in front of the man. "What in the world happened? How did you get hurt?" Jared asked with a frown, but his hand movements were extremely gentle. Ellen let him bandage her wound while explaining with a sigh, "Selena messed up my place on purpose before moving out. When I pulled her by the hair and asked her to apologize, she hit me with her bag. The cut on my arm was made by the metal on her bag. Jared felt incredibly sick at the thought of Selena. Why is Ellen always surrounded by such ill-bred relatives? Did she apologize to you, then? He asked. Ellen shook her head, saying, no, she didn't. Even so, she was glad to have taken action this time. Even though she got hurt as a result, she was at least not weak anymore. Jared said, just stay away from these relatives as much as you can from now on. After packing the first aid kit, he began to help Ellen tidy the place. Ellen was stunned for a few seconds. Is my boss tidying up the place for me? There's no way I could be so lucky. You don't have to do this, President Presgrave. Let me do it instead. Jared stopped her just as she wanted to get up. Sit there and don't move. I can do this. I'm totally fine. Ellen still wanted to stand up and lend a hand. The man had no choice but to come over and sit her down on the sofa with an authoritative look in his deep eyes. Just be a good girl, okay? Stupefied, Ellen reclined on the sofa as if she had been rooted to the spot. Looking up at the man, she listened to him. The man tidied up the place dexterously after finishing his speech. Perhaps Selena wouldn't have expected that Jared would be the one who tidied Ellen's place after all the trouble she had taken to smash it up. Finding the broom and the mop in the storeroom, he cleared the broken pieces of ornament away from the floor. After that, he even went to the master bedroom. Don't tell me Selena even made a mess of my bed, thought Ellen. She hurried to the master bedroom. When she saw Jared making the bed and folding up the quilt for her, her pretty face instantly turned scarlet. As it turned out, Selena didn't mess up her bed, it was just that she had gotten up late in the morning and forgotten to fold up the quilt before she left for work. At this moment, seeing how the tall figure stood by her bed while folding up the quilt dexterously with his large hands, she felt incredibly embarrassed. Jared couldn't help but look around Ellen's master bedroom. The bedroom was clean and tidy, save for the disheveled quilt, which he folded up without any extra effort. To think he's such a homebody who loves tidying up. His parents must have done a great job of educating him, thought Ellen to herself. Just then, Jared turned around and said to her, all right, it's done. Let's go out and have dinner. Ellen felt really sorry for the man. Not only had he tidied her place, but he even offered to treat her to dinner. Thank you, President Presgrave, but never mind about dinner. Please go ahead with your business if you have something to deal with. She was shy of scrounging a free meal off him. Jared couldn't help but fold his arms across his chest while narrowing his eyes. Are you chasing me away already? No, I'm not chasing you away. It's just that you're very busy, so? Even a busy person has to eat. Jared cut her short. Then, he ordered, I'm asking you to have dinner with me, and you're not allowed to say no. Ellen blinked her eyes. He really is the most domineering man I've ever seen. Consequently, she had no choice but to go out with him for dinner. At this moment, Selena had driven home. When she arrived home with her suitcase in her hand, Olivia asked in surprise, why are you moving back here? I don't want to talk about it. Ellen, that little batch. I won't let her off for this. Selena replied angrily. Olivia immediately came over and looked at her daughter with concern. What happened? She kicked me out of her place, hit me, and even pulled me by the hair. My scalp still hurts right now. Selena complained furiously. Olivia flew into a rage instantly. Now that her daughter had gotten hit by Ellen, how could she not be angry? What? How dare that little brat do this to you? Mom, where's Dad? He isn't back yet. Tell me first, why did she hit you? Olivia dragged her to the sofa and sat down with her. Selena simply lied, I just broke a vase of hers into pieces by accident when I moved out, yet she thought I was making a mess of her place on purpose. She came at me, pulled me by the hair, and shoved me to the floor. If I hadn't fought back in the end, she would have plucked out all my hair. Who allowed that brat to do this to you? Who adopted her and her brother back when her parents died? What an ingrate who bites the hand that feeds her. Olivia swore loudly before attempting to take out her phone. I've got to bite her head off for this. Selena stopped her, saying, Mom, don't call her first. There's one other thing that I want to tell you. Olivia sat down again. Selena's eyes reddened. She said, Mom, the man I love, he actually loves Ellen. I can't resign myself to this. Who are you talking about? For a moment, Olivia wasn't sure who her daughter was in love with. Who else can it be? It's our boss, of course. Olivia was astounded. Why, you mean that young Master Jared? Are you saying he's in love with Ellen? Selena replied, I didn't believe it at first, but today. When I went to Ellen in the office this morning, he said he loved her and warned me not to bully her. Mom, in what way am I inferior to her? She was aggrieved and upset, but at the same time, she was also resentful. Stop crying, sweetheart, Olivia said, comforting Selena while holding her in her arms. At the same time, she looked surprised and anxious. Is there such a coincidence? That young Master Jared is in love with Ellen? Don't tell me that ghosts really do exist in the world and that this is the work of Ellen's dead brother? Your dad is to blame for this, too. I told him not to get Ellen into that company, but he insisted on doing so, she said resentfully. Upon hearing this, Selena couldn't help but look up in surprise. Mom, what did you say? You mean it was Dad who got Ellen into the Pressgrave group? Seeing that she had let it slip, Olivia had no choice but to admit, yeah, that's right. Your dad got Ellen a job at that company while he was pulling strings for you. Selena replied, how could he do that? It was me who wanted to work there. Why did he have to get Ellen into the company as well? She was beside herself with rage after listening to this. If Ellen hadn't joined the Pressgrave group, she wouldn't have met Jared, and these things wouldn't have happened. Olivia replied, it's your dad's fault indeed. She was vexed, too. I should have stopped him back then. Now I have shot myself in the foot. To think Ellen and young Master Jared hit it off so quickly as to fall in love with each other. No, I can't let her and young Master Jared become a couple no matter what, or what happened before will certainly be found out. Mom, I hate her guts, Selena sobbed in Olivia's arms. That little brat will come to a bad end. Olivia was resentful, too. At the same time, she was even more afraid of Ellen, fearing that she would learn about the truth of what had happened back then and that she would take away everything that they owned right now. Meanwhile, in the restaurant, Ellen obediently explained the incident in the morning where she had lied to Selena that Jared had a girlfriend. Jared had forgotten about it long ago. Instead, he thought she was doing the right thing. She's keeping me from being pestered by other women. All right, let bygones be bygones, he said, ending the subject. Then, he asked, are you still gonna quit your job, then? Ellen asked him in reply, do I really have to pay $8 million in breach of contract damages if I resign? Jared nodded. The breach of contract damages for your job are more than $8 million. Ellen involuntarily gulped at once. Then, thinking that she wouldn't suffer any losses if she didn't quit her job, she replied with a wave of her hand, I won't quit my job then. I'll keep on working until you sack me on your own initiative. There's no way I can afford such an exorbitant amount of breach of contract damages. Jared couldn't help but let out a snort of laughter. Seems like you're quite sensible. Ellen let out a wry laugh. I'm just doing what suits me best at the time. Are you free this Friday night? Jared asked her. Ellen pondered for a moment. She didn't have to work extra hours on Friday night, nor did she have anything else to deal with. So, she nodded, saying, I am. Is there anything I can do for you, President Presgrave? Attend a dinner party with me. What dinner party? Ellen was startled. She had never attended such an upper-class dinner party. A charity dinner. Ellen's cheeks burned. She couldn't help but say honestly, President Presgrave, I've never attended dinner parties before, so I'm afraid I'll make you look bad. Why don't you invite someone else instead? Jared was both amused and annoyed by her reply. He said, How can you possibly embarrass yourself in my presence? This is part of your job, so you have to go with me. Ellen blinked her eyes before asking for confirmation. Do I really have to go with you? Yes, you have to, Jared asserted in an authoritative tone. Ellen nodded. Mustering up her courage, she replied, Okay, I'll go with you. At the end of the dinner, Jared drove her home, telling her on the way to go to bed early and be careful while living alone. Ellen got out of his car after they arrived downstairs outside her neighborhood. She said with a wave of her hand, Drive safely on your way home. Jared told her to enter the neighborhood first. After she had safely entered the neighborhood, he finally made a U-turn and left. When Ellen returned home and saw how clean and cozy it looked after being tidied, she couldn't help curling her lips into a smile. Recalling how the man even helped her make the bed, she felt both embarrassed and warm at the same time. Just then, her cell phone rang. Who would call me at such a late hour? She wondered. She picked up the phone, only to see that it was a phone call from Olivia. Her heart clenched. Don't tell me she's gonna give me a dressing down. Knowing that she couldn't escape from being chastised, she braced herself and answered the phone. Hi, Aunt Olivia. Ellen, all Lena did was break that lousy thing of yours to pieces, no? How dare you hit her and pull her by the hair for that? Don't you have the slightest respect for her? She's your cousin. Olivia yelled angrily in a reproving tone of voice. Moreover, she even put the blame on Ellen without listening to her side of the story before Ellen could answer. She warned her, I'm telling you, Ellen, if you dare lay a hand on Lena again, I won't let you get away with it. I was kind enough to keep you and your brother back then, but little did I think you'd grow up to become such an ingrate. I really regret it. Seeing how Olivia talked about her kindness in fostering her and her brother, Ellen had no choice but to reply, Aunt Olivia, I admit that what happened was partly my fault, but it wasn't my fault alone. Selena was in the wrong, too. Olivia replied, Ellen, Lena has told me everything. You've got young Master Jared at your back, so you're turning your nose up at everyone right now, huh? Did you ever think about who was the one that got you into the Presgrave group? It was your uncle who pulled strings to get you into the company, remember? If it weren't for our family, you'd probably be working as a waiter in some obscure place now. How ungrateful. She let out a sneer. Don't you worry that you'll get your comeuppance for that? After she finished her speech, Selena snatched the phone from her, saying, Mom, let me talk to her. She then said to the other end of the line, Ellen, I want you to apologize to me. Hearing that it was Selena, Ellen bit her lip, saying, I won't apologize to you. It was thanks to my dad that you got into the Presgrave group. If not for my dad, you wouldn't have gotten to know President Presgrave. Without my dad, your resettlement compensation would have been taken by others long ago. Ellen, as long as you apologize to me, I can forget about this. Selena just wanted to see Ellen bow down to her. That's a different matter, Selena. What about my wound? Selena replied haughtily, that little wound of yours is nothing. Also, how much is that thing of yours? I'll pay you for that, but you have to apologize to me. I won't apologize to you, Ellen said stubbornly. Selena threatened, you. Fine, don't come to my place anymore. My parents won't look after you anymore either. From now on, you're on your own. The words on your own pricked Ellen's heart. Just then, Olivia took the phone back from Selena. Ellen, your parents died early, so we fostered you and your brother out of pity. Now that you've grown up, you don't obey us anymore. Not only are you unfilial to you even hit my daughter. Who would dare to marry an ungrateful lady like you in the future? Your husband's family will kick you out if they learn about this. These words didn't sound unpleasant to the ear, but they were as hurtful as a curse. Olivia then threatened, I'm telling you, don't seek us for help in the future when you need your elders to back you up. We don't have such a heartless niece. Either you apologize to my daughter, or we'll sever our relations with you. Ellen's heart twinged. She felt an overwhelming pressure weighing down on her.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.